let's start with the argument itself. Or, you know what? Let's call it a disagreement. So, we'll have a D for disagreement right here. Now, the disagreement can be both ontological, ethical, or political. Now, there can be many more different types of disagreements out there, of course, but I think a lot of the time most disagreements can be reduced to either of these three. Ontological disagreement about the nature of something, ethical disagreement about the right and wrong, and political disagreement, which a lot of the time is actually a combination of these two. That's when you get the political disagreement right here. So, okay, this in and of itself already creates a pretty low chance that someone will come to an agreement when a disagreement like that happens, right? Especially when you have two sides who stand for something very, very opposing to each other. You're playing on hard difficulty. And when it comes to disagreement, there are only three difficulties: hard, very hard, and extreme. Like if disagreement or a video game, there is no easy or normal difficulty there. So, yeah, this is the first level of disagreement. It is disagreement in and of itself. Now let's add the very hard difficulty level. We're creating another circle here. I'm really bad at drawing. This adds the cultural layer. Here we have the culture and language. It's not that unusual that people with a different cultural background or with a different mother tongue would have a certain layer of additional complexity to their argument, because they may define certain terms differently. They may use certain words that another individual is not using. I'm not necessarily saying that, well, let's say if you're from America, you're going to have more of a disagreement with someone from India than with someone from your own home country. I'm not saying this is necessarily always correct, but that such layer of complexity and problem can appear. So, but this is not, we're not just talking about foreign languages and foreign cultures, right? Because when it comes to the world of politics, almost any group that subscribes to certain ideology will have their own culture, and a lot of the time their own language as well. Just think about the words, the language that trans community is using, or the red pill community. And I'm not talking about the red pill as in right wing, I'm talking about the male red pill community, MGTOW, incels, all of that. They all both have their own words, their own terms that are not really used outside of those communities. So this makes the whole argument much harder, right? Because sometimes it feels like we are not even. And the same goes for far-right ideologies. It's like you're isolating a certain portion of the language, and your group is using that exclusively. This creates a problem, right? Because now you have different groups of people who are, well, on the surface speaking the same language or belonging to the same culture, but because it no longer seems like we are talking the same language, this makes the problem of coming from disagreement to an agreement much more difficult when we can't even agree on the definitions of things and what things are. Now, if you think this is hard enough, well, let's add the third layer here. This bastard. Those are the fuckers who are controlling the whole thing, you know, the media and so on. How are they monetizing it? Well, first of all, they have to know exactly how this works. Right? You know how this works? You know that this already makes it much harder for people to come into an agreement. It creates more conflict in society. And what are you doing? You're amplifying this. You are amplifying this by using algorithms and social media and politics in general, right? Let's make sure that only certain groups of people get recommended videos from YouTube creators, not only on the right, and certain different kind of group only get recommended videos from left-wing media, right? And now, well, both get presented as facts, right? So what happens is like, well, we're speaking facts, yeah? We're speaking facts here. And these guys are also like, no, we're speaking facts. Well, here's some news for you, sunshine. These are not facts. This is what they're selling you. This is what you need to wake up from.